I think if we were, and I'm sure we will at some stage, do like a combined 11, Real Madrid, you could argue, maybe would have more players than Barcelona, but they're just not playing as a unit as Barca are under Valverde.
Well, you're being very presumptuous there.
Yeah, well, that. And also, they don't have the player. See, Ronaldo right now is not the player. Lionel Messi is.
Yeah.
And people are going to go crazy because, you know, the Ronaldo fans cannot understand why would people look at Lionel Messi and say how talented he is. Lionel Messi did not score a goal against Deportivo La Coruña, and yet he was the best player on the field. He hit the post 4 times, he missed a penalty, and having said all that, he was still the best player on the field. So the scary part is for Real Madrid and for whoever else that doesn't think that Messi is the best player in the world right now is that there's a better version of Messi. The one that finishes the chances. If that version of Messi shows up against Real Madrid in Santiago Bernabeu, it's game, set, match. It's game over.
This is probably exactly the game that Real Madrid needs to kickstart their season.
Not the Club World Cup.
Well, no, not the Club World Cup. You just gestured as much when this fixture last season where Lionel Messi scores later on, holds his shirt up, and all of a sudden there's a added spice to it just because of that. And again, and Real Madrid, as we keep saying, this Real Madrid, this form of Real Madrid isn't what we've become used to. Maybe a good result, a good performance kind of kickstarts things forward.
It's a must-win.
Well,
it's a must-win for Real Madrid.
The German Cup has reached the round of 16, and without question, the standout tie sees Bayern Munich take on Borussia Dortmund. Peter Stöger's come in, 2 wins out of 2 for Dortmund, looking better. It is a mouth-watering clash, isn't it?
Well, I think the first thing that he's trying to do is he knows that they are a talented team going forward, but let's be frank, they were pretty shambolic at the back and in the defensive cover of the back line, shipping goals for fun. So that gives them a little bit of a better chance than they would have had a couple of weeks ago. But obviously, Bayern have changed coaches as well, and they look just as solid. So I'm still seeing a Bayern Munich win.
Look, you see the knee-jerk reaction from Stöger coming in with a Dortmund team that was struggling. But you know what Dortmund are going to do. You know what they do well. And you respect that. You just have to be a little bit more organised. But right now, this form of Bayern Munich and Heinkes again, I still feel too strong for Dortmund.
To your point about what the new coach has done with Dortmund, Christian Pulisic said in a post-game interview that the first thing that they worked on is defensively. Well, and that's no surprise because that's Dortmund. That's where they have their issues. But it's not new players. And so as much as you want to work on organization, it still comes down to whether you can defend in 1v1 situations. And this group of players have proven that that's not what they do well. Bayern Munich have had better performances from Sven Ulreich over the last couple of weeks, something that we didn't expect from him.
Yeah.
That in itself makes Bayern Munich stronger. I think Bayern Munich is too good for Dortmund.
So Pep Guardiola, 3 off his record that he attained at Bayern Munich. These are the winning streaks in the top 5 leagues in their history. 3 of them involve Pep Guardiola. How much do we have to give him credit for this?
A lot of it. A lot of it. And it's not only creating an environment in which players are learning on a daily basis. And it seems to be happening with Manchester City because he puts the ideas out there. But the players have to be able to buy into the ideas and then execute those ideas. So he said it himself in the post-game press conference where he said, look, it's great that I have all these records and these winning streaks and whatever, but you have to have the players and you have to have a board that supports your ideas and your thoughts and everything that he's trying to bring to Manchester City. It took some time, but it was worth waiting for.
Yeah.
If this is the final product, if this is what Manchester City is going to be from here on out, it tells you and it gives you an idea that when given time and given talent and given resources, you put it all together, it looks beautiful.
Look, Pep Guardiola is right. Yes, you have to have the players. Yes, you have to have the board to support you. But I think he's been a little bit modest here, which shows in how many records he has. You also have to have a team, have a mentality to go out and do this. Now, for all the games I've played in, you get a 2-0 lead. The first thing you're thinking about is, let's not give anything up. If we get something up the other end, we take it. City are everything but that. 2 up, they still press and they still get goals. As a result, there's no chance for somebody to sneak one and then have you under pressure for the last 15 minutes or anything of the sort. They just go out and crush your position. That is a different approach than 99% of managers would take, which is why he is occupying the leaderboard as he is.
I think it's a little bit, in my opinion, ignorant of some just to say, oh, he's a checkbook manager.
No.
You know, he goes out and buys the players. Then you've got others that will say, well, you can't just go to a big club and buy success. I mean, you've got to make your mind up. What one is it? Yes, he spent money, but as we've talked about in this show many times, they're all at it.
Yeah.
All the big clubs are all at it.
United have spent 600 million since Fergie left.
You're not going to compete at the highest level, at the elite level now of world and European football unless you're buying players. No company, no Stones, no Benjamin Mendy. You've got a midfielder at left back, no David Silva for personal reasons, and they still obliterate one of the Premier League's so-called better teams. Kevin De Bruyne's work rate was absolutely, I mean, apart from his play was great. His work rate was astonishing, absolutely astonishing. And people said, I saw people on social media saying, well, he was lazy at Chelsea, well, he was lazy at Wolfsburg, well, he was lazy at Ghent. Everybody wants to look back. Everybody wants to look back and say what he didn't do whenever he was at certain places. What he's doing now is fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
One of the key things that you see with Manchester City is that it's not just one performance. It's not just Kevin De Bruyne. It's across the board. And when you see De Bruyne chasing players like he does, and that work rate that you're talking about, if you're Raheem Sterling, what are you thinking? So, well, I have to work too.
Yeah.
And I think Guardiola mentioned that in the press conference as well. It's like, if you see the top players working the way that they are with and without the ball, then everybody behind them are going to say, well, this is what's expected. This is where I need to get. And you see it. Defensively, solid. In the midfield, the possession, when they want to go direct, they can be direct. When they want to slow it down, they can slow it down. And then in the attack, you just have so many different options. Leroy Sané took Kevin Trippier, put it in his pocket and say, hey, buddy, we're going to go for a ride the whole day. And continue to do that time and time again. And it's choices on the left, choices on the right, De Bruyne in the middle, Aguero up front, Jesus coming off the bench. I mean, it's perfection right now.
Peter Walton joins us to talk about some of those controversial calls from the weekend. Pete, let's start, shall we, with City against Spurs and that challenge from Harry Kane on Raheem Sterling. It was only given a yellow, so it can't be retrospectively punished. Should it have been a red?
Well, first of all, I don't think the referee, Craig Pawson, actually saw the contact. You notice that he had his back to him. He had a poor position, really, to start from, and the ball actually hits his back. But if you want to, in relation to the actual offence itself, I think it's a red card offence. I think Harry Kane has lunged in. He's out of control. He's caught him squarely on the calf there, and I think it should be a red card.
Red card?
He did say it, Pete. If you stop the video right at the contact piece, his back is turned, but his neck and his head is turned. Craig Paulson's looking back at the instant, so I think he isn't in a poor position, but he does see it. But it's a straight red card.
No question.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I think Craig, when I say he didn't see it, I don't think he saw the context of the actual challenge. He's looked back, and as he's looked back, so that challenge has happened. I don't think he's seen Harry coming in from afar, and also the lunging motion that he made the challenge with.
Peter, if that was Diego Costa, would he be sent off?
Oh, good point. Look, we've had this debate before whether or not past misdemeanours come into play. I'm sure they do at occasions. But in fairness to the referee there, if that had been Diego Costa, I think he'd still come out with the same conclusion.
Okay.
Nope. No. Diego Costa gets thrown out of the game.
Are you questioning Peter Walton?
No, I'm merely questioning his opinion on this matter. That's it.
Well, you can't send off a player who was in for Sports Personality of the Year in the UK on Sunday night, having scored 50 goals in a calendar year. It's just not on. It could have affected the outcome.
Lovely English man, Harry Kane. What about another Englishman that could have seen red? Dele Alli, Peter, that challenge on Kevin De Bruyne. Should he have gone?
Look, I think everybody can see that challenge for what it is, and it's a poor challenge. The referee will be actually disappointed, and I'm sure his fourth official, who had a great view as well from the sideline, will be disappointed he didn't give him the information required. So, yeah, that one, for me, is the worst challenge of the weekend. One where it's come down with force, one where it's come down on top of the ankle. And I think, look, if that challenge is made in Russia next year, then Mr. Ali better be looking out, because he won't stay on the field.
Shaq, red card?
Without question. Okay. I mean, it's so bad it could even be more than the standard 3 games. I think it was malicious. It was awful. How we get through that is beyond me.
Okay, Peter, let's talk about a Manchester City player who could have been sent off. We saw Otamendi with that challenge on Harry Kane in the first half, going for the ball, catching Harry Kane in the face. He was booked. Should that have been red?
So that's a real subjective view there, Dan. I think that a lot of people
that's what you're on for.
Well, yeah, okay. A lot of people are contrasting that with the Mane one, Liverpool earlier on the season when he was sent off. I think this one's slightly different. Otamendi is coming from the sideways. His foot is high, yes, but is there a lot of force? I don't think so. Were the studs showing? No, they weren't. And he's just caught him. I think that's more of a reckless challenge than a challenge that's actually going to endanger him. And therefore, I think a yellow card for that one is pretty much right. I don't think it's the same as the Mane one that we saw early on this season, where he's gone straight leg into the face of the goalkeeper in that particular game and has caught him with the studs.
Do you agree, Ali?
To some degree, I can see that it's a different challenge in that the studs are not showing. Mane, and I think Stephen Nicol made a good point last night in saying that you could see it happening from 10 yards away. What it was going to happen. The ball bounced up, Mane jumped up, and then he came with the studs across the face of Ederson. But if we look at it from the perspective of somebody kicking somebody's face, that just can't happen. That just can't happen. And so I can see why you give a yellow card, but to me, I think it's a red card as well. The foot of Otamendi is so high. It's abnormally high. And it's a stupid challenge to begin with. I think it's reckless, and I think it does endanger the player. I think it's a red card.
That's the thing. Pitt uses that term there, endangers. And Kane is standing straight up. It's not as though he's bending over or has lowered his head any. To raise your foot that high, you are asking... You're begging for trouble at that point. Once it makes contact, it endangers the opposition player. It doesn't have the malice as with the Dele Alli challenge, but still, this is a red for me.
What's the difference between an overhead kick from 8 yards out when the guy's acrobat up the top, somebody goes to head it? What's the difference?
The difference is that you're not seeing the guy behind you.
Well, you're still endangering the opponent.
Yeah, but...
If your boot's still high, you're endangering the opponent. I'm a centre-half. I come to try and clear it. You're the striker. You scissor kick it. You catch me in the head, or I have to pull out. There's got to have to be a difference there. I'm with Pete on this. I think it was a yellow. In fact, I had to say to the boys before we came on here, did I miss the Otamendi sending off? Because I couldn't remember, and then I remembered the kick. And at the time, I just thought it was a yellow card. Completely different from the Mane incident where he was running at full speed and the leg comes up, the studs go straight into the face. I just thought it was a yellow, to be honest.
OK, let's move on to another game. We heard today that Lanzini of West Ham will be banned for 2 matches for simulation in winning that first penalty in their clash against Stoke. Obviously, the 3-man panel thought it was a dive. Peter, do you agree?
Well, that's just not a penalty kick. I have sympathy, actually, with the referee, Graham Scott, there. He's got himself into a great position to see it. The Stoke defenders come across and go in to make the challenge and realise he's not going to get the ball and pulls out at the last minute. I think the referee then has been pretty much conned by the player there going down the way he did. And for me, not a penalty kick, and I hope, or I say I hope, you know, with precedents been set with Niassi early on in the season, the Everton Crystal Palace game, I would expect the penalty to come out quite strongly on the player. Mr. Moreno.
Well, all I would suggest is that once the defender goes down in the way that he did, now you expose yourself and you open a world of possibilities. And when you open a world of possibilities to a player that is running out of ideas and running out of space like Lanzini was at the end of that run, then at that point you go and draw the contact. And so while I can understand that it is a dive, and I would admit that that is indeed a dive, Peters does give him the opportunity to draw the penalty by the mistake of going down early.
Well, he went in for the challenge and then he realised that it made him, that it kind of wasn't going to get there and he pulled out. And then you can clearly see Lanzini going over. I mean, it is crystal clear. I think there's a classic case here of, there was 2 incidents at the weekend. The Leicester City game where Martin Atkinson got it right. And he's a very good referee. Where, is it Martin Scott? Pete,
Graham.
Graham Scott. who
Graham.
I don't recognise this referee, to be honest. He had a poor game at Old Trafford in the Bournemouth game because he should have sent Lukaku off. And as Peter said, he got himself in a great position and he was right behind the incident when Lanzini went over. So he himself has had a poor.
Was he right to be
3 or 4
banned for 2
days.
games?
Lanzini? Well, what did they ban Nias for?
Nias, will it be 2 games as well, Pete?
Yeah, it should be two games. Yeah, Craig, you make a good point there about the contrasting of the referees, and there's a lot of experience there between the two, and I think Martin Atkinson gave himself time and viewed the whole situation before signalling the free kick or the infringement, whereas I think Graham was a little bit keen on giving the penalty kick. I think he'd given a few more games under his belt, he'll actually buy himself a little bit more time to see the reaction of everybody around and realise that he didn't actually see what he saw.
Peter Walton, as always, thank you very much for your thoughts. Just a reminder, ESPN FC with you throughout the week. Cup action in England and indeed the rest of Europe, and we'll be discussing it. Check your local listings for times. Welcome into Extra Time. The countdown to the holidays, of course, continues. If anyone would like to make any suggestions as to what Craig could buy his wife.
It's been a topic of discussion.
It has been a discussion.
I'm relying on him.
Shaka,
That's a mistake.
Shaka suggested theatre tickets, and Craig went, do I have to go as well?
Fair question.
Theatre may not be my thing.
Well, that's a shock.
I've been to the odd concert now and again.
Yes? What was the last concert you went to?
Bryan Adams.
Oh.
I've been to a couple of his concerts. Yeah. I went to see David Fairty.
It's not really a concert, is it?
Well, if he sang, he didn't sing, but it was still. Nicole was there. We took the wives, took the wives to
Lucky them. Let's go and see Fairty.
enjoy golf stories.
Okay.
So I'm stuck, yeah. But she doesn't want. I don't think she wants anything this year.
Go with that.
I don't think that's the approach you
Go
want.
with the gut instinct.
That'll work out really well.
Listen to the man who's been out buying shoes.
Oh, don't ruin the surprise.
I haven't been out. I haven't been out.
Did it online.
How's it a surprise for me to say that and you tell her she's not getting anything?
Well, that would be a surprise.
That is a surprise.
Hey, the boss is in my ear saying to move on. Doesn't like it.
Sorry, she won't watch this, will she?
It's down to I'm sick, and
It's not the most exciting
what
gift
is this
anyway.
going to cold rem? I am sick, but I am a battler. I don't complain about it.
Yeah, but whatever your cold remedy is, whatever the go-to is, don't use it
It just
anymore.
won't go anymore.
Move on to something else, because that's not
It's
working.
all clogged up, isn't it? All the sinuses.
You're not getting rid of these ailments very quickly.
Well, thanks.
It's worrying.
Thanks for telling me that.
But it is worrying of you.
Are you concerned about me?
No.
No. I'm just worried about your
Concerned
lifestyle.
about the rest
that's
of
all.
us.
He's telling me to move on again.
You've had quite a few days off, haven't you?
What do you mean?
Been noted. I mean, it's...
Hey. Manu had 6 weeks off because of his back. Is Wayne Rooney getting enough love considering most pundits wrote him off at the beginning of the season?
He's doing all right. Look, as Everton have got better, he's got better. I think it's hard to blame. Just look at him and say he was playing badly because he was in a team that were awful under Koeman. So yeah, he's done all right.
4th top scorer in the Premier League.
Is he?
And that he's not getting enough love.
Go on then.
Lots of love to you, Wayne.
Lots of love to you.
Lots of love.
With the crazy football rulings going on in the NFL, what's the craziest ruling situation you've ever been in or seen?
Oh, boy. It's a tough one. By the way, that was a catch. I don't care what people are saying.
Yeah, people are trying to tell me that wasn't a catch. It looks like a catch.
Craziest.
Feels like a catch, looks like a catch, but this rule.
Well, Peter Walton was involved in one,
Is that when he forgot his yellow cards?
and he just raised his hand. So that was. I mean, I wasn't playing in that game.
The beach ball is always one of the strange ones.
Beach ball came on the pitch.
Beach, was that Stadium of Light against Liverpool?
Liverpool, yeah. Yeah. That's good too.
What about you, Shaq? Surely in Trinidad there must be some strange old things.
Why? Why you got to go there?
Single them out like that.
No, I'm just suggesting that you must have seen some things.
No, never.
No?
Never.
Not a crazy thing on the
Not a
what about
crazy
off
thing.
the pitch?
Well, that's a different story.
I've never seen anything crazy in Trinidad either.
You're about due one of those trips, aren't you?
Exactly.
my
When
wife-
is
my wife watching
Carnival?
this?
That's normally
You know
Champions
one of
League.
those trips where you take...
February.
February.
12th and 13th.
You know that very well.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I'm not going.
Oh, it's Champions League, isn't it?
What?
I'm not going.
What's he gonna
That's an
talk about?
upset right there.
Oh, that picture of you in the feathers is
I
fantastic.
don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Seriously, get off. Get off.
they're hurrying us up today. That's it.
No. Let it leave.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Not you,
No, I'm off tomorrow.
sickly.
What's happening tomorrow? League Cup? Craig, you in?
Yep.
Oh.